Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Seamaster Qatar 2016 ITTF World Tour Grand Finals. Welcome to Doha. It is women's singles semi-final. Please welcome from China, the number 3 seed, world ranked number 4, ZHU Yuling. Japan, the number 2 seed, world ranked number 5, Kasumi ISHIKAWA. And ladies and gentlemen, kindly acknowledge your officials. The umpire from the Philippines, Rachel Ramos. And the assistant umpire from Qatar, Saeed Abdullah Al-Khatiri. Ladies and gentlemen, it is ZHU Yuling against Kasumi ISHIKAWA. It is women's singles semi-final.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Seamaster Qatar 2016 ITTF World Tour Grand Finals. Coming to you live from Doha, Qatar. I'm Adam Bobrow. With me, Paul Hand. What's happening, Paul?
Hey, Adam. I'm really looking forward to this second women's semi-final.
Yeah, this should be a tight one here. An exciting battle. We've got some history between these two. Kasumi Ishikawa of Japan, world rank number 5, is the 2nd seed in this tournament, and she's facing the closest battle she should have by world ranking and by seeding. ZHU Yuling, the 3rd seed in this tournament, 1 spot ahead in world rankings, world rank number 4. Ishikawa, while she spent some time being the top of the women's team in Japan, is only 23 years old. But even younger on the other side, ZHU Yuling, the future of the Chinese women, 21 years old. It's her 3rd time at the World Tour Grand Finals, and Ishikawa's 5th. Should be an interesting style matchup. Ishikawa, the left-hander, with tricky serves, more steady game and fight. And ZHU Yuling, a lot of power, has definitely had her challenges. Check out each other's equipment here to make sure they're familiar with what rubber is on each side, how tacky, how heavy, anything new or fresh. Some players, I saw Yuya Oshima in the practice hall, had just put new rubber on the racket. Umpire for this, Rachel Ramos, the rock star umpire, pride of the Philippines, and assistant umpire helping her out, Saeed Abdullah Al-Khatiri from Qatar. So, Paul, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I'm really curious because the Korean slayer, this lady in our picture, Kasumi Ishikawa, she was loved 2 down in both her previous matches. And taking out Yang Haeun just earlier today and Sa Hye-won a couple of days ago, you know, so she doesn't mind being down and being in a bit of a hole, but she will do against this player because in terms of her head-to-head showings, they've met 9 times and she's trailing 2-7. So she's lost the last 5 consecutive matches, and indeed 3 of those 5 matches she's been hammered 4-0, frankly. So it's a really tough ask for her.
Absolutely, and interestingly enough, her last win was not as long ago as it might appear throughout their career. Her last win was in 2013 at the Austrian Open in the quarterfinal, and it was a 4-1 victory. So 3 years ago, ZHU Yuling, 18 years old, still in the developmental stage, but quite a strong player then. How much has she improved over the years? Well, considerably, but we'll see. It'll be a real test. They didn't have the chance to face off last year at the Women's World Cup as ZHU Yuling was knocked out by Li Jiao, who retired shortly after in the Olympic Games. I think that was the dream of the 42-year-old Li Jiao.
And to be fair as well, Adam, I don't think that ZHU Yuling has looked completely assured and convincing. She was 2-love down to Chung Yi-ching yesterday, and well, you know, Chung Yi-ching has obviously improved out of sight, but she was still up against it. She looked hesitant and a little, I don't know, a little vulnerable, I guess is the word.
Right, I know, I heard actually, talking to Ian Marshall, that the coach who was off screen was telling her, calm down, remain advice there. I'm an LAPD officer. Best of 7, Kasumi Ishikawa to start with the serve. Pretty steady game. I think when you have as much power, as much gunpowder in your shots as ZHU Yuling does, sometimes playing a little bit ambitious or getting too tight. I mean, it's never helpful to get too tight, but you don't need to be just firing, you know, on all cylinders.
Yeah, you can get burnt when you play low margins.
It's a good catch right there.
But with the withdrawal of Ding Ning as well, with that sad illness, Chinese hopes are just laying on this young lady's shoulders to defend the title, of course, of last year.
And that does add to the pressure a lot.
So
brilliant serve there, fast and into the body right at the baseline. You know, for those of you who are just joining us, it's been quite exciting today. Match to go back and watch. There have been several, but Dmitry Ovcharov and Fan Zhendong, I'm still catching my breath after that one.
The ball crack situation there was something else. You've got to see that, folks. That's amazing.
So much drama for a ball crack. But real quickly, just to touch on that, when you do get to the ball crack part of the match, I talked to Carl Yindrock, who's running the tournament here, and he made a really good point. The rules simply state if the ball cracks while the ball is in play, it's a let. That's it. That's the letter of the law.
Irrespective of where it hits on the racket, right?
Exactly.
Because that's where we were going, wasn't it?
Right.
If it's off the edge of the blade, or
we were starting to feel like the point would have been over, and we were arguing the spirit of the law, but the letter of the law is, yeah, no question. The umpires made the right call, so it was just unfortunate for Dima. Well, in the case of Kasumi Ishikawa, she's going to have to be clever. She knows that she's, from a muscle-to-muscle standpoint, power. ZHU Yuling is the stronger hitter. She's going to have to be very intentional from the start with her serves, her placement. First 2 shots of every rally. But there's some power. Getting around to the forehand, stepping out from the backhand corner.
yeah, she can heat it up when she needs to.
And one thing I like to acknowledge for people, you've got several players, 5'3", 5'2", you know, close to maybe 156 centimeters or so. And these women aren't bulky. Like, if you look at Kasumi Ishikawa, she's very fit, but you just imagine with arm wrestling and other things, she might not be the strongest. Her timing is so good. Her speed, the way she transfers her weight, and you saw it in the power she pulled out against ZHU Yuling just a few points ago.
I think that's quite a big issue, Adam, actually, isn't it, technically, because I think these players hold their weight back very well until the ball comes, and then they throw the racket head at the ball. It's easy to disperse your weight too early, right?
Right. This is, I mean,
kind of fall on the ball.
In any, well, yeah, as a high-level tennis player, a professional tennis player, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar watching young people who aren't quite there yet, who don't transfer their weight, their timing is off, and they become all arm. Table tennis so much in the legs and the twist of the waist. All the way down to the wrist, the last little crack of the whip there.
Kinetic chain, that's it. These guys very good at keeping the loading and the angle in the knees, because that's where it all initiates from. Fires through the ankles, knees, hips, rotation. And the last links have to be loose as well. We've spoken of these loose-handed stuff. Zhu Xin, the expert of that.
That's right, everything working together. You hit the nail right on the head. Ishikawa ahead now by 4 points. Strong start here. Just a little too clean of a look. ZHU Yuling has the power to take one step back around the backhand corner. See, she's getting the top spin. Times it just right. Where she fans out with that wrist to put a little bit of side spin on it.
But I think what's really interesting for sort of like, you know, club players and what have you is that she knew from the quality of her serve where that receive was going to, so she could step around immediately.
Woo, look at the power on that one. Forehand flip. This is the kill part of the flip kill. See it one more time. Leaning over too. I mean, that's, when you talk about all arm, I mean, that's really way out in front of her. She's not getting a lot from the legs. Just the hand, the forearm strength. Oh, the The frustration's understandable. Earns the third ball with the serve, kicking and deep on the table into the body, completely fooling ZHU Yuling. Has that for her taking. She's been very expressive, Kasumi Ishikawa, between finding herself lying on top of the table the other day.
Oh, yes, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite charming for fans around the world. Had a chance to see all the reactions on the official ITTF Facebook page, and people loved it. Expression, you know, people wearing their heart on their sleeve. Kasumi Ishikawa, we've seen her with her tongue out a few times so far in the match, at least earlier today. Wow. Some quick turnaround, 5 points in a row.
Clever short play there from the Chinese player.
Feels like just a sentence ago I was saying up 7-3.
Yeah. Perhaps sort of being a little haunted in the mindset here, Ishikawa, of the previous head-to-head defeats, frankly. There's been too many of them.
This is going to be
7-2 for ZHU.
Wow, really tough here. Big point for Ishikawa to sort of give her a bit of confidence that she needs. You saw in the facial expression and the body language of Ishikawa, she was quite disturbed by the results of the quick 5-point turnaround. Beautiful play, the shovel serve, a little bit of Chinese medicine for the Chinese receiver. And the step around inside out forehand, a left-handed specialty. And again, a right-handed player against a left-handed player has the same opportunity. The inside-out forehand is going to bend out of reach. You just have less experience doing it because they're much more often playing against right-handed players.
Right.
So tied up at 9 each. ZHU Yuling now serving. Drifts just a little bit long, and a strong opening attack with some confidence. Game point, and the lead back to Ishikawa.
3 in a row for Ishikawa.
Ishikawa watching very carefully to see the rotation on the ball, although you can expect the serve to be varied in some way here. The missed contact after a lot of spinny shots to the backhand side. Strong opening, some counters, blocks, changing of pace even. See if we can see that one where, yeah, completely misses the contact, just rushing out in front a little bit. The service has been good, but ZHU Yuling's response is jamming Kasumi Ishikawa up. She's just been having trouble getting the third ball she wants on that serve.
ZHU Yuling has had her backhand absolutely peppered over the last couple of points, but it's remained rock solid and a real asset to her.
Hear one of those hit the edge for ZHU Yuling, and Ishikawa still recovered it. Now, sound is a lot more important than people who don't play the sport might realize. It's important to be able to hear the contact, to know how much rotation is on it. When it hits the edge, it becomes a little bit more mysterious. Sometimes the ball goes where you intended, but sometimes the rotation's a little bit less, the trajectory's a little different. Spinny, steady backhand. Ishikawa with game point, and Coach Mika Baba in the corner. They've been coaching for Fukuhara for some time. They're here at this tournament with Ishikawa. Mika Baba, a very fiery coach. I've seen her red carded and taken out in support of her player. She's willing to go the distance. I think we were talking about that with the 2016 October 1st coaching rule, that coaches can offer coaching advice between points whenever the ball is not in play. Mika Baba is a very active coach for sure. Well placed back at the table. Ishikawa flips the table with the racket head. If you hit it hard enough, sometimes, often the umpire will ask to see the racket to make sure that the rubber's not cracked or broken. If it is, you'll have to use a spare. I've seen that happen. Still alive, saving a game point. The seesaw continues to wobble.
This is the longest game we've seen on table one, isn't it?
Well, there was the 15-13 with Dima.
Right, right.
The very memorable one after the ball break, the drama.
This might exceed it. Let's have a look.
It's definitely going to go at least as far at this point.
Oh, great body jamming serve as well. She had it where she wanted it.
The last 3 serves I can recall, Ishikawa has served deep into the backhand, and this one was as risky as they come, right on the baseline to the very corner. But the follow-up shot, it's just not ideal. Looks like she's trying to shake out the arm, make sure she doesn't get tight. Game point back to ZHU Yuling. Oh, the edge, and we will see the highest scoring game on table one today right here. So far, anyway. Who knows what the future may hold.
It's been a real cat and mouse affair, this opener, that's for sure. Nothing between them.
Cat. ZHU Yuling. Just
you.
had to choose. Trying to get the forehand into play. Has the opportunity, but again, the pace of ZHU Yuling keeping the pressure on.
15-14, play.
Mouse on the receive.
I wonder if she'll go with a short serve again to the forehand of Ishikawa, or will she change it up?
15-14.
Third time lucky?
For whom?
For ZHU, in terms of where she serves. And
Let's
is
see.
she persisting with the same tactic? Yeah.
Wow, surprise on the underspin at the point of contact. I would have thought that had a bit of topspin on it.
So
Deceptive pendulum serve and a 16-14 win in game one, a marathon game. It's just the first in this best of 7. We'll be back for game 2 right after this.
Second game, will serve, love play.
Back for game 2, ZHU Yuling to start off after taking the first by 2 points in a high deuce game. Again, on paper, ZHU Yuling the strong favorite despite the seedings. Kasumi Ishikawa, the second seed actually, in front of ZHU Yuling. So by World Tour standings, Kasumi Ishikawa might be expected to win. But as we all know, the World Tour standings are very much participation based, chasing bonus points and titles throughout the year on the World Tour. Left out wide on the forehand side, a bit out of reach. Ball had dropped a little bit by the time she got there for the forehand flip. Can't stop thinking about the Dima match, the second forehand flip opportunity. It's like watching a good film. It stays with you for a long time. You go home at night, you're thinking about it. The next day, you remember the details of what you saw. Today's tournament has been that way in several matches, but that one specifically made an impact. Very clean counter there from Ishikawa. So that's her first point this game. To light the fire, to ignite the comeback. Let's see.
Exactly.
Eh? Replaying it in her head. Ending on a good note, though.
Yeah, I like that. Really good. Good positive nod. Tell you who does that well as well. The Korean player we saw earlier.
Young Hoon?
Yeah, very good. That's a positive sort of reinforcement.
Right.
Looks good. Sends out a good message to the opponent as well. It's quite sort of off-putting in that regard. Geez, so you actually won that point in your head. Despite me winning the last three, she's turned it around like she's won it. That's the help.
And even if the opponent doesn't see it that way, it sort of clearly sends the, like, right, I've got a plan. Okay, I understand what happened. I understand what I'm going to do. Just looks like someone who's more prepared. I mean, positive everything, really. This is sort of close to the lead that Kasumi had in game one before that quick run of points by ZHU Yuling. 5 in a row from 7-3.
It's reeling away from Ishikawa a little too fast here, though.
There we go.
Long.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is the longest part of the table. As fast as they come in off a high toss serve, the contact has to be so precise here. That's why they practice serves. Hours at end every week, day after day, making sure there's service variety and still developing new serves all the time. Fooled, hit it behind the momentum. 7 game points for ZHU Yuling to take her second game. There it is, the softer block changes the timing. 11 points to 3. ZHU Yuling in the driver's seat. We'll be back for game 3 to see what happens. Ishikawa versus ZHU Yuling right after this.
11-1, losing to 2 games to the lead.
Back for game number 3. The game of cat and mouse continues. Ishikawa chasing. Which, if you think about the picture, is a little bit unusual.
Yeah, when
Mouse
you look
chasing the cat.
Yeah, wrong way. Tom and Jerry, the other way around.
Right. Very popular in many parts of Asia. Japan especially, actually. I think I saw it on a uniform. Someone was competing in a Tom and Jerry team uniform on the World Tour.
Right.
Yeah, a little fun fact for you.
Very good.
Fashion fun fact, F3. All right, ZHU Yuling takes the first 2 points here. Started to steamroll in game 2, as we said. And that cross-court inside-out forehand, I mean, you have to wonder from a mentality standpoint, the lead of 7 points to 3 that Ishikawa had in game 1 might have come back to her later, started kicking herself.
Brilliant. The backhand for me has been standout. She's really a bit of a slow start from ZHU Yuling, but now she's just getting hold of it, and she's really started to punish that backhand. Not just solid, but venomous off that side now. Ishikawa's going there a lot.
Ishikawa had 3 unusual and awkward shots in that rally before the point was finished. Look at this.
That was an angry response, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm not being belittled anymore. Have some of this.
Yeah. This is when we see it, too. When someone's frustrated and sometimes they throw caution to the wind and the shot goes in, you never know. It might have a longer lasting effect. Keeps up the aggression. I mean, who knows? Dima pulled it off for several games in a row. This whole play, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and nothing less. Just give it everything you have.
Lights out.
Coming back after leaning back so much with that surprised long push that comes down on the table.
And it's almost like in a nutshell that ZHU Yuling is just used to living at that highest tempo of exchange. A little higher than Kasumi Ishikawa all the time. It's marginal, but it's apparent now. That was a good example right there.
Right, I mean, ZHU Yuling.
Great blocks off the backhand.
Yeah, she's so comfortable. This is the speed. I mean, again, Chinese Super League. Every match you play, someone knows how to take the ball early. Someone knows how to counter your spin.
I mean, imagine also having had the time around the table with someone like Li Xiaoji just crushing balls at you in drills hour after hour, day after day, week after week. You know, you're bound to get speedier than the rest of the pack, and it's starting to sort of rear its head right here.
We're going to go back to another animal metaphor, but thinking about racing ahead the pack, this whole thing, if you're on your own, if you don't have a Miu Hirano to your Mima Ito, how are you really going to stay sharp? Look at this, inside out now off the side of the table. It'll help off the top of the net, but that shot, world class from the start. And that's another thing as far as packs go. I was thinking about the amount of young players on the Japanese women's team. They're so plentiful right now, and who they have coming up, but we don't know what China has, which players between the ages of 14 and 19. We just don't see them because the big four take the focus. You've got a few. Wu Yang, who described herself as the bodyguard, the chopper that almost nobody beats internationally. I think Kasumi Ishikawa did once in a 7-gamer years ago.
And apparently they only took, what was it, like a C team to the Junior World Champs in Cape Town?
You know, you hear
you just
things
don't
like
know,
this.
do you? You know, is it just vicious rumor and we're all left sort of shivering, thinking, what if?
This is getting dark, but I like it. I'm very curious to see who, I mean, Li Xiaoxia did retire recently, so now there's a spot opened up, the big four for the Chinese women. Question is, who's going to step in? Chun Meng has come back. Right now, we will see if Kasumi Ishikawa can come back. Again, the second, well, of the team leaders anyway for Japan. Second in age behind Ai Fukuhara. She's hit the ball hard on many occasions. That one point that really got us talking about Chinese Super League practice, Kasumi hit probably 3 balls quite hard with the forehand. And again, it just looked like practice for ZHU Yuling.
It's got that extra gear of intensity. Look at that. I mean, that's synonymous with what we were saying. And when you're used to just living at that tempo a lot, it just becomes you. That's how you roll.
First opportunity right down the line. Inside out over the table, shot off the top of the net. A break to save a game point for Ishikawa. Quality shots with placement now, moving around coast to coast, as they say.
But generally, ZHU just so good at playing close, controlling the angles and getting her opponent on the run more often than the other way around.
Don't get too excited. Still a ways to go. Third towel break. We've got 2 game points left. This is guarded optimism here. The same can be said in the Dima Fan Zhendong match. I mean, guarded optimism. Heavy underspin serve drifts long, but is heavy enough to make up the difference. 11 points to 8. ZHU Yuling with
So
a
that
3-0
is
lead. We'll be back for
third
game
game
4.
to
Give me the last.
ZHU Yuling.
Find out if it
Takes
is
the third
right after
game,
this short
11-8.
break.
She leads by 3 games to 0.
Starting off the game, Kasumi Ishikawa takes the first point. We were talking during the replays about the confidence ZHU Yuling has. You were likening it to Xu Xin, explaining a difference or two?
Or 3. I was saying how Xu Xin just seems so relaxed, so kind of almost lethargic within the time that he had on the ball.
And if you look at the score, I mean, 1, he did have a defender, so he was pushing him away from the table. And 2, if you look at the score differences. Oh, man.
I thought they got behind her, so she must have just hooked an angle there from inside her body almost. Incredible turnaround. Let's see it again. Watch you very carefully here. Look at that.
How to in front of the, this is where you see behind the back shots, when it buys you that extra millisecond to get the racket to the right place.
Ishikawa, after that penultimate point, must have been just wanting to go up and shake hands and just say, too good, I'm off, thanks. You have it.
Peace.
Yeah, white flag, surrender.
Yeah, the amount of fight in here, I mean, it's very human to feel that. I felt this earlier in the match for Kasumi. Just like, it might be nice to give up right now, but she's fighting.
She's done really well to just keep on at ZHU Yuling. It's been a thankless task at times. I love that loop, that mix-up there from ZHU midpoint off the backhand side.
This is when it's toughest, when you feel like you've run out of ideas, tried everything you have, and it keeps coming back. Not to say that, of course, she shouldn't give up. She's pulled off huge victories, but that feeling of like, wow, what else do I give? But you still have to keep coming out and playing every point. Especially at a tournament like this. We haven't seen one exhibition point yet. Even with a few opportunities to.
No, I admire Kasumi Ishikawa's discipline and application here. This is good. And as the player that she's lost 5 consecutive times to over the last 3 years, she's still getting the bit between her teeth and trying her heart out. That's commendable. Trouble is, almost everything now that she does, ZHU is just that confident with his 3-love lead that she does it better.
Right, we talked about that too in the replays. The shots down the line, that you don't make these shots consistently or even take these shots consistently unless you have this confidence to be so loose and free.
But it's interesting because the score has now generated that confidence for ZHU.
Yes.
For Xu Xin, that happened from the off. He generates that himself before he's got anything on the scoreboard. That really is deep-seated confidence to me.
Yeah.
Are you with me on that?
I'm just trying to think, 1, about everything you said, but 2, I mean, he so rarely is beaten by a foreigner, and he sort of knows the guys. Jun Mizutani came very close once, did it at the Olympics, succeeded finally. Zhuang Jiyuan, but other than that, it's a very rare occasion for him to lose to a foreigner. And against defenders, the confidence Xu Xin has is just, I mean, it's supported by the numbers. He doesn't have much to worry about. Oh, look at this. Fast to the outside corner on the forehand and then right back down the line. High pressure shots. This is another reason you can play some high risk shots. Back against the wall, you hit rock bottom. You just have to try something out of the norm. Whatever Kasumi Ishikawa can grab right now. Oh, not enough footwork to get there. Look at this. The backhand, as soon as she gets her hooked out on the opposite corner of the table. Hope we get to see the whole point here. Ishikawa very assertive with power. She's still coming down from the ball before. Too much to reach.
That's just cheeky, isn't it? Rubbing
Speaking
salt into the wounds.
I think you got to see a nice little smile there. Ishikawa has shown a great sense of humor on a few occasions so far this tournament. As much as it could be a salt and wounds type of moment, you know, Ishikawa, I think, could have been on the other side of that point. I think she knew when she went up for that last ball that she left herself vulnerable. Ah, that beautiful opening shot came in with the open face. Looked like it might be a push and then a powerful flat receive.
And interestingly, there's a little pocket of Japanese supporters that are right behind Kasumi Ishikawa every time she wins a point, particularly at this tardy stage as well. They are the faithful.
And right behind her is where they always will be, Paul. Now 5 match points for ZHU Yuling on the receive. So we've seen some of the game points saved. Last game was quite a similar situation. 5 game points, I believe, and then 3 back. Little change. But there it is, ZHU Yuling with the heavy underspin serve takes it 11-6 in 4 straight games over Kasumi Ishikawa. For me, Kasumi Ishikawa played a lot of strong points, but ZHU Yuling was just too good in this match, Paul.
Yeah, comfortably through the counter, that one. ZHU Yuling really got her in a headlock early and didn't really relinquish her grip. She was very solid throughout today.
Absolutely so. First semi-final down. We've got one finalist who will be coming up tomorrow, but she's waiting to see. Oh, as a matter of fact, it's already done.
Yeah, it is. Han Ying, 4-0.
So it's going to be Han Ying and ZHU Yuling in the final tomorrow.
That's right, that's right. And that'll be at 2:30 local time tomorrow.
Well, that should be an exciting one. Both of them happened so quickly. They almost snuck by us under the radar. We'll stick around. We've got another exciting one coming up. It's the captain, the dictator, the dragon, Ma Long, versus the most improved player, the man to watch in this tournament, Jung Young-shik, with the Olympic gold medalist from 2004, Yu Sung-min in the corner, coming up right after this.